They said he was done forever.
He is done.
The end of this Trump era.
There'll be new faces and new voices.
The final chapter of Donald Trump.
I don't know what the future of this party can be.
The movement we started is only just beginning.
The entire system went after him.
Mar-a-Lago was raided by FBI.
New York indictment.
A sweeping indictment in
Donald
Georgia.
Trump says he's been indicted again.
I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear.
But he never stopped fighting for you.
I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country.
And we will win, win, win. We're going to win, win, win.
Thank you, President Trump, for fighting for us. The greatest political comeback in American history.
Donald Trump has been elected president.
Now, it's time we fight for you.
The golden age of America, that's what we have.
The best is yet to come.
America, we are so back. You know what? What am I doing here, man? Hold on. We are back. Yes. It feels like the air is a little bit thinner, smoother. I feel like the food a little more flavorful. I don't know, the music been bumping lately since Donald Trump got in the office. Yeah, and former Fox News host Chris Wallace has been fired by CNN. Never forget, though, when President Trump fact-checked him live during the interview.
I think we have one of the lowest mortality rates in the world. We're going to take a look.
We had 900 deaths on a single day.
We will take a look.
This week.
Ready?
You can check it out.
Could you please get me the mortality rate?
Yeah.
Kaylee's right here. I heard we had one of the lowest, maybe the lowest mortality rate anywhere in the world. Do you have the numbers, please? Because I heard we had the best mortality rate.
The case rate of similarly situated countries, as Dr. Burks points out, and this is
number one low mortality rate. I hope you show the scenario because it shows what fake news is all about. Okay,
I don't think I'm fake news, but we'll put we'll put our stats on.
You said we had the worst mortality rate in the world, and we have the best.
4 more years of him triggering these liberal leftist people. Yes. Look, just quite literally debunk what you said, brought the claims, and then you tried to act like you wasn't fake news. Bro, what is going on? Now, today's video is going to be, how do I say? It's going to be a jumbo pot of what's kind of centered around Donald Trump. Because President-elect Donald Trump just announced that Carolina Leavitt, I believe that's how you say her name. Y'all know how this go with me, will serve as White House press secretary. Now, here's Leavitt getting kicked off CNN after triggering CNN's Casey Hutt.
It takes someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently
stop this interview if you're going to keep
President
attacking
Trump
my colleagues.
to Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back at any point. She is welcome to come back and speak about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will have equal time to Joe Biden when they both join us now at later this week in Atlanta for this debate.
Well, these people are allergic to fact checking. Like, they just allergic to this. Like, sheesh, what's going on? Oh my God, what's happening with CNN? Now, you know what I mean? Shout out to Caroline for getting that press secretary, man. I cannot wait to see, her replace all it. Bro, Donald Trump is assembling the Avengers and I'm in for it. But she replacing Kareem, right? Obviously, right? This is absolutely epic, man. I love winning. I'm not gonna lie. Oh man, I know that. I tell you what, Chris didn't leave on his own. And that woman cutting off Caroline like that was just, and we got to see her again in this next clip. So CNN's Van Jones hyperventilates over Kash Patel and Trump's cabinet picks. Quote, "It's a joke. We're the American patriots. America government works. What problem are we trying to solve here? So many problems that we've lost count." Van.
I mean, it's a joke. I mean, it's just a joke. Where are the patriots? Where are America's patriots? You're now talking about people who are completely incompetent, who most American business owners wouldn't hire to run a taco stand, being put in charge of the FBI. America's government works. What problem are we trying to solve here? go to any other country. You come back here, you're glad to be here because so much of what we put in place, our parents put in place, our grandparents put in place works. You have to believe something that's not true, that somehow America is like falling apart and all these terrible people doing all these terrible things. What problem can you possibly solve by putting Kash Patel in charge of literally anything? This is a joke. This is an insult. And I think even Republican voters should be insulted and just say, America's government should be respected. It should be populated by people who respect America's government and who are basically competent. And Kash Patel fails that test and would fail that test for almost any job in America.
And I'm loving every bit of this, man. Watching this is like watching the draft. I didn't know that this is how it goes when a president gets into office. I'm sure, I had some sort of understanding that they're going to put people in place, but I ain't know nothing about all these different positions. Really. The Department of Government Efficiency, we got Vivek, Elon Musk, we got Caroline as the press secretary, we got Matt Gaetz, AG. What? Come on, man. There's so many other positions that's filled. Now, excuse me. They said that Donald Trump was a threat to democracy, but this is without a doubt the most accurate explanation by Dave Sachs of why what Donald Trump is trying to do is actually going to restore democracy and not bring about a dictatorship as they tried to fearmonger us into.
There's roughly 3 million people who work for the federal government. Of those, the president basically appoints 3,000, and it takes forever to get them through.
Yeah.
So we have roughly 3 million people who don't report to anyone. Nominally, they're supposed to report to the executive branch, but the president can't fire him. We talked about on the previous show, if Elon had gone into Twitter and he hadn't been allowed to fire anyone, do you think he could have restored free speech to Twitter? Of course not. They just would have kept doing whatever they wanted to do. And that is the big problem in the federal government right now, is we are ruled by a fourth branch of government that is not in the Constitution, that doesn't report to anybody. It is not subject to elections. We can't vote them out and we can't fire them. And they have been in the forefront of trying to stop Trump and the larger reform movement that he represents. Ever since Trump got elected in 2016, remember, it was members of the administrative state, specifically the security state, who said, don't worry, we're going to be the insurance policy against Trump. And they have done everything possible through the Russiagate hoax, through lawfare, through the whole Steele dossier hoax, to basically try and stop Trump and the reform movement that he represents. And the big question of Trump's second term will be whether he can finally subdue this bureaucracy and bring it under Democratic control, under the control of the executive branch, as the American people want, and as I think the Constitution intended. Right now, we are run by an unelected branch of government that has to stop. And what Trump represents is not dictatorship, but democracy, the triumph of democracy over this bureaucracy.
Meanwhile, the people that are claiming that Donald Trump is the threat to democracy, the actual threat to democracy. You see what's happening is Trump is saying, we're going to clean out the deep state. We tried to play by y'all rules the first time. I tried to, be buddy and all that with a few people, but no, we're going to go ahead and completely wipe the floor that way. Once I continue to do my, as I continue in my presidency, I won't be condemned for the most basic of things, which is people being in their feelings over the fact that you're making a decision that they just don't agree with, man. Like, come on. And then deciding to use their position to, go use lawfare. Now the Democrat Congressman Wiley Nickel is openly discussing a shadow government to undermine Trump. He's openly admitting that they're going to commit treason. Literally.
If Trump attempts to weaponize the justice system against his political opponents with Matt Gaetz at the helm, we could see incoming Senator Adam Schiff as our shadow attorney general, arguing against replacing our independent prosecutors with Trump loyalists. If Trump seeks to eliminate the Department of Education, Congresswoman Johanna Hayes, a former Teacher of the Year, could step up as shadow education secretary to loudly defend public education in the United States. If Trump orders Marco Rubio to hand Ukraine and much of Eastern Europe to Russian President Vladimir Putin, Congressman Greg Meeks, as Shadow Secretary of State, could be a strong voice in support of maintaining international relationships and protecting democracy at home and abroad. Senator Michael Bennet as Shadow Treasury Secretary and Congresswoman Susan DelBene as Shadow Commerce Secretary could help ensure the middle class and small businesses have a voice in government and call out Trump's proposed tax cuts for billionaires and corporations. As Shadow Defense Secretary, Congressman Adam Smith, a great representative for the people of Washington and not a Fox News host, could counter Trump's threat to use military force against his political opponents and work to ensure that the Department of Defense stays loyal to the Constitution and not some wannabe dictator. And Senator Tammy Duckworth could argue against cuts to the Department of Veterans Affairs that would delay the benefits and care our service members have so rightly earned. If Trump hands over the EPA to big oil ally Lee Zeldin, we could see Congresswoman Kathy Castor pushing back for environmental protection and conservation to protect the air we breathe and the water we drink. And if Trump pushes to ban abortion nationwide, Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro could step in as Shadow Secretary of Health and Human Services to defend women's right to choose and argue against the gutting of Medicare by Trump and his cronies. Mr. Speaker, new times require new solutions. The shadow cabinet isn't just about opposing extreme MAGA attacks on our government. It's also about making clear what we stand for, not just what we're against.
You know what they're doing, right? As Mark pointed out, they are daring Trump to arrest or charge or imprison those who participated in his charade so that they can say that, you know what, look at us, we were right. They can say that Trump was going to become a dictator or some other BS like that. That's what they really banking on. These people, man. And the fact that you would sit there and really just reveal y'all plans like that, that's just different, bro. That's just, we're going to, hire openly admitting it because the shadow government was hid behind the Steele dossier. When the enemy talks, listen, someone says he should be arrested for treason and sedition. Yes, this is truly the enemy within type for real. A very good reason to call a recess and expel every single person involved. Right. Treason. Period. You ask me? Now, Elon Musk just shared this video. It says Rob Bear. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me see. Ron left the Democratic Party. Oh, let me say what Elon said, and then I'll say what the post is. Okay. Had a brain fart. Ron left the Democrat Party because they have moved so far left that they are out of touch with the people. This is why they lost so badly in this election. And then he said that to this post that says investor Rob Barron says he left the Democratic Party. The party's been taken over. All right, let's check it out.
So you've been a longtime Democrat. You've been pretty outspoken about that, but you're also a longtime supporter of Elon Musk's. What do you think of the election results and the government that we're going to be facing?
I think that he had similar views to mine. I don't feel like I'm a Democrat anymore, but he had similar views to mine, and for a long time. But I think that the Democratic Party has been taken over by unions, teachers unions, UAW. I mean, one of the things that was really interesting is that they had an EV summit at the White House. Everyone's been talking about this a year or two ago. And in that period, they had the leading people for electric cars were invited to the White House to meet with President Biden. And Musk was invited initially and then disinvited. And the person who was praised for leading the way and in the conversion was Mary Barra. I love Mary Barra, but Mary Barra in that quarter did 29 cars, 29 electric cars. We did 300,000. And she was the one who was invited, and she was the one who was praised as the leader in this conversion from gasoline cars to electric cars. So that's because the UAW said, I don't want Elon Musk in the White House. And so it's a lot of these interested parties that say that, no, it doesn't work for me to have someone who's non-union. The reason UAW has been unsuccessful unionizing Tesla's plants is because the people in Tesla's plants are becoming wealthy because they're shareholders in Tesla stock. Same thing for SpaceX. So you can't unionize people if they're doing great where they are. Last year, there were 5.8 million people. 5.8 million people applied for jobs at Tesla and SpaceX for 30,000 jobs. 5.8 million people for 30,000 jobs. Tesla might have 150,000 people and SpaceX probably 15,000, but they had 5.8 million. They get the best people. They get the best people who do the best. And how do you take people like that and make them into a union where they're just taking something off the top and it's a job that's not that interesting?
When did you decide that you were no longer really a Democrat? Has that been over the last several years?
A lot of policies they have. I'm an independent. A lot of policies that they have I don't agree with.
Just anti-business policies, anti-growth policies. What are the
anti-Israel policies?
Anti-Israel policies. Yeah.
So I don't really understand where that came from. The inclusion policies. I think that if someone is really talented and work really hard, they should get the benefit from that. And the policies of Democrats, if someone's not doing well, they want to say, okay, we'll lift you up. I'm fine about giving people opportunity. I'm not fine about taking something from someone who's worked really hard to achieve what they have and taking it from them and giving it to someone else.
It's safe to say that the left has gone so far left that the legacy Democrats, the career Democrats, man, the people who were born into it, you know what I'm saying, found themselves on the right. And rightfully so, man, because the Democrat messaging is all about ill-informed, low IQ voters. I'm just saying.